Welcome to Crafty Little Beach. This is Julie. Today I have a Dollar Tree DIY for you.
This is a shelf I got at the Target dollar spot for $5. You can kind of work with whatever you have. The thing I liked about this is that it was simple and it had the little pegs that I want to use for this DIY. It's also got a shelf so I can put some springy stuff up there as well. And it's this beautiful raw wood. And so we're going to paint it ivory. So just using ivory acrylic, we're going to go over this entire shelf and paint it. Now, if you couldn't find this and you wanted to build it, I think it would be really easy. You could use like 2 pieces of craft wood from the Dollar Tree, gluing or screwing those together just in an L shape. And then you could use little dowels for the pegs. It'd be super easy to recreate, but if you can find it for $5, I would say invest. And so I'm just going over the top of the shelf, anywhere you're going to be able to see. Then I'm going to go over and sand it a little bit as well, just to kind of rough it up and give it that coastal feel again. Basically, I want like the same distressing on this one that we did on the first one. So again, chippy brush, Antique Wax by Waverly. I like to try to work in one direction, lightly distressing, sometimes heavily distressing. But if you use a baby wipe and you're quick, you can kind of rub that all in and forgive any errors. And you can always go back in with your original color of paint and distress as well. I'm going to use that to distress all over to kind of give it a uniform coastal appearance. And even though you're probably not going to be able to see it, I'm going to go ahead and do the top of the shelf as well, in case, I ever use the shelf somewhere where you might be able to see it up there as well. And what I wanted to do with this is I thought I could put some plants and I found this great little spring artwork at the Target dollar spot, but I wanted to look like I had flowers being dried hanging from the pegs. And so this is the greenery that I found from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to kind of mix up different colors, purples, yellows, but I love this like frosty look to the leaves. I think that kind of makes them look like they're dried out. And then to make them look like they're tied up, I am just going to go with jute twine from the Dollar Tree and wind that around them. That's also going to serve as a hanger and then cut off the end using some wire scissors, trying to get through that. That was kind of tough. And making it a little longer than it needs to be. And then I'm just going to make a little loop so I can have a hanger and then wrap that around and I'm going to tie that off. That way it's going to look like I'm drying flowers on the wall. I thought that would look really fun for spring. And these little flowers from the Dollar Tree is definitely a cheap, economical way to get that look. So that is how I have it all tied up. Now I'm going to do the same exact thing with the other one. I'm just using that real tiny twine from the Dollar Tree. You could always use something thicker and you might not have to go around as many times, but then making a loop and tying that off. Super easy. And then just removing the end. I found that my floral scissors didn't work as well as like my heavy KitchenAid scissors on that stem. And then we're going to do the same thing here with flower number 3, since we had 3 pegs on there. Just trying to make them all about the same height with their little loops. Tying and trimming and cutting off the stem. Couldn't be any easier, and this turned out so cute. So this is how it looks in my entryway. Our little flowers being dried on the wall. Super cute. Now, this isn't a DIY, but this is a cute little spring sign that I found at the Target dollar spot. And I love it because it had a special message for me because my son used to always love dandelions and be like, flowers, look at all the flowers when they would bloom back when we lived in the Midwest. So I thought that was a really funny saying. May all your weeds be wildflowers. I'm going to use that up on that little shelf that we just made. And I really love how it all looks together. I paired it up with some dollar spot greenery there that I got, that little tree, which is really cute. And then, of course, it's got the little pegs on there with the dried flowers that we DIY'd with supplies from the Dollar Tree. And it's kind of a fun way to do the dried flowers, like a faux version. Those flowers from the Dollar Tree, I think, are perfect for that.